What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sip Off, where we have drinks and we talk all things basketball. Let me go ahead and get my guests in here, but we have a jam-packed show for y'all. This is Will Vogel. What's up, Will?
Uh, my college teams are playing well. My NBA team, let's just say, it's more than to be desired. I haven't even gone to a Hornets game this year. I didn't even go last year. I may go to one, and that's it this year.
Yeah, it's rough for the Hornets. It is. It is. All right. We go ahead and add Joseph Jenkins. What's up, Joseph? How are you?
Man, I'm happy to be on the sip off. I'm so happy to be here with you
It
guys.
has been a while.
I am
Um,
so sorry for my absence, but I am here.
oh
Is
no,
there an
no,
echo?
no apologies necessary. Um, are you drinking tonight, Will? You got anything to drink tonight?
I'm
No.
not drinking tonight. I probably
No.
won't drink until Christmas Eve.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm the only one. I'm having a very full glass of wine. The whole
Josh,
thing. The whole thing.
Josh,
Red or white?
It's red, baby.
you drinking Josh?
No, it is. It's called house wine. It's a red blend.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds
it's just
sweet.
kind of a basic red. Nothing special.
No,
Am I lagging?
No,
no.
no.
Okay. Because I thought I did for a second. I was just like, okay.
So, Joseph, talk to me a little bit about college ball because I know that's really your niche. Let's kind of talk. What have you been seeing going on this season so far?
I actually it's been actually pretty interesting to see what happens. Arizona, they were looking really good, and they got the transfer of Caleb Love. He was the casualty of that whole UNC debacle, so now he's playing with them. But they took a loss to Purdue, and
They
it's
did.
hard.
They did.
It's really hard to make like it's like you want to buy into Purdue, but when they get to the tournament, it doesn't always work out the way it was. So like
Right.
as of right now, they're playing great. I
Mhm.
still like Houston with Samson because I think they're going to break through at one time. Um, but everybody's looking good. UNC's looking good.
UNC
Duke is
is looking
still
good.
finding their way with John Shire, which is kind of to be expected. But
Right.
it's been a fun season from stuff like they're just knocking each other around, which is what you expected when you're
Right.
clashing with each other. I think there's 3 or 4 teams that can say that they're the best team in the league, in the game right now, and that includes like Purdue, Arizona, Houston. Eh, I'll leave it at those three. I It's been all right. It's been all right.
Mike Patton, you are you a Kentucky fan?
Yeah, I saw that game. That game was sloppy for UNC.
Well, every good team has bad games. We know
Oh
this
yeah,
the season
UConn
is
lost
not the
last night.
same length as the NBA, but it's
You
still a long season. And it's
you
about
can
winning at the right time. Like you can have some bad games, some losses that you learn from in this part of the season, but moving towards closer to the tournament, that's when you want to hit your stride.
you're
Oh,
set. It's funny he brought them up because it's payback probably for what Duke did to them during Zion's one season.
oh right, yeah. Yeah, definitely so.
That was a total beatdown if I ever saw one.
It was, it was. Um talk to me about the girls a little bit, Joseph. Or Will, you want to talk about the girls?
Go
What you've seen?
go ahead, Joseph.
Oh, go ahead. You guys go ahead. Sorry, I
No,
got
no,
distracted.
no, no. You go ahead. I've been working so much. I
So,
haven't even caught
I
up with
mean,
ball.
women's basketball is starting to take center stage over, and then you have to give Caitlin a lot of credit. You know what I mean? Like Caitlin has really transcended the game, and everybody's excited
Yes,
about what they can do on the looking to play. See basketball. LSU is starting to find its way, but they
they are.
still have ways to go. And you got to still remember my homie in South Carolina because she is revving up. She is really, she's got, so many things going on. They're actually looking like a very decent, very good team. It's just,
Hmm.
but right now you have to give it to Caitlin Clark because I think everybody is watching college basketball for women's for her. They want to see
I
her.
mean, I personally don't want to give it all to Caitlin, even though I'm not taking anything away from Caitlin. But I think this energy really started to build. I mean, obviously, whenever COVID hit and we didn't have anything to do besides sit up and watch sports, whenever it did come back, um, I I feel like there was a lot of momentum that came there. But once we got to see Paige play, I think that's when the momentum really started to pick up. And just because Paige wasn't there last year, I think everybody focused on Caitlin or Angel. But to me, like, I think the one that really started that energy of like, oh, okay, we got some new faces coming to the WNBA. I think Paige is the one that really brought that energy.
I
She's
think
got she's got Maya Moore clutch ability. She's got
Right.
Maya
Oh,
Moore
yeah.
clutch like ability. It's crazy. It's
she
And
crazy.
does.
what do you think about these freshmen that we got going on though? We got Juju that's showing out. Mike brought her up. So USC they're looking tough. UCLA looking really tough.
Yep.
I mean Fu
The
Wiley
Colorado
over there.
squad, the Colorado squads are starting to figure it out a little
Oh,
bit.
Colorado squad is tough too. Yeah, no, I think that was one game that everybody had been talking about Colorado football program, and nobody was really kind of paying attention to the girls basketball program. And they made a statement when they beat LSU, and they just keep continuing to win. So I have enjoyed watching them. Sad, just kind of sad that it's the Pac-12's last year, though.
Yeah, it really is.
And it just my childhood has changed. My
Right? Yeah,
childhood has
completely.
changed. Like I'm not used to Missouri. I'm used to Missouri. I'm used to like Texas, Oklahoma, Red River rivalry. I'm used to
Right.
USC, California, USC, UCLA, like Stanford now. Stanford about to be in the Big Ten, from what I've heard, and it's like they're going to be traveling to the East Coast the whole
No, the
time.
girl. No, Stanford's going to be. They're playing. Aren't they playing the in the ACC?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I was wrong. So they're in the
Right.
ACC. So they're going
Stanford's
to be
going to
going.
the ACC.
They're going to be going to the East Coast for practically 6 or 7 times in the year. Like
Right.
it's crazy. It's different now.
It is very different. It we'll see how it's going to take time. But I do think now the ACC. I mean, obviously the SEC is still there as far as girls basketball. Like that presence is there. Alabama, LSU, you can't deny that. But what I thought was the hardest regular or conference play was going to be Pac-12. I think that's actually going to be ACC going forward after this conference realignment.
Sorry, Will, go ahead. I've been
No,
talking.
nope. I was just saying I agree.
I'll just say real quick. Conference realignment actually stopped, in my opinion, one of the best college conferences in all time, and that was the Big East. I used to live in the Big East, and now it's not even close to what it used to be. You remember the Maya Moores against everybody?
Right.
Like they used to dominate, but even on like it's no more. It's no more.
Y'all, if y'all hear that my dog be snoring.
I ain't gonna lie.
But
I claimed him. That's our dog.
okay, that's Boo. She snores. She's about 10 pounds, but she snores like a grown man. All right, well, let's jump into our topics for tonight. That was just kind of an overview of some of the stuff that we've been seeing. Ja Morant returned the other night. What were y'all's thoughts on Ja's return?
Who do you want to go? It's up to you.
You go, Will.
Yeah, you know what? What Ja did was stupid both times. But you know what? The guy's a baller. The guy is a baller whenever he's on the court. He is a threat to score and assist. And when he was gone, man, they lost Steven Adams, I think, for the year. Brandon Clark. We don't know what's going to happen with Brandon Clark. It's still up in the air. I think it's like Achilles or some leg injury that's we don't know much about. Marcus Smart's been hurt also, which is another guard they got in the offseason. But you know what? Ja's going to help Desmond Bane a lot because Desmond Bane has been asked to score a ton lately. Right. And he's also going to help Jaren Jackson Jr. with the scoring too. And of course, Jaren Jackson's good at defense. We know.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's definitely going to be that first option. Then they'll probably go Bane and then Jackson Jr. But do I think they'll get out of this hole? I think they'll. I don't think they're going to be. Of course, they were second last year. Do I think they're going to be top 5 this year? No. I think it's too little, too late. I think they're going to. I don't think they're going to be like terrible. I just think they're not going to be like good. I think they're going to be a mediocre, maybe a 30 win team this year. Because it's too little, too late.
That's rough.
Yeah, they're playing in the West. The West is tough. You got the Clippers who are rolling right now. Got the Mavericks. You got, of course, LeBron still. You got Phoenix. You got.
I mean, and they are sitting at the 13 seed. They are 7-19. Okay, Joseph, tell us what you thought about Ja's return, and then we'll go back and we'll touch on what do we think it's going to take. Do we think Ja is enough to get them to the playoffs? Is he enough to keep them in the playoffs?
I'll go after JJ and answer that. Go ahead, JJ.
From what I saw against the Pelicans, which is a very good and deep Pelicans team, I think Ja changes the game for them dramatically.
Of course, yeah.
Like, I think I've watched a couple of Memphis games this season. You could see when they were without him, they were just down in the dumps, dead in the water. They just didn't have anything. And just one game, you could see their confidence just shining through. Like, they're so happy to have him back. And that game winner coming off of rust, that first quarter, people thought like, oh, okay, he's about to have it down and everything. He turned it on in that second half. And it was just reminding everybody that Memphis is still going to be a team. And I personally think they can get to that 10 or 9 seat and be in the play-in just because the teams ahead of them have some things going on. You know, Houston looks good, but they've been on a little slide right now. They're still trying to figure it out. They beating the Pelicans was a huge showing to like, yo, this is a talented team. Now, the Pelicans themselves got their own little things between, you know, with what they got going on. But I think Ja Morant is going to change it for them. And I can see them really – they're now not going to be a team that you see with the record as bad as they are. You're going to overlook them. Now you see they're probably the best 7-19 team that you may see because if you see them on the schedule, their record's not going to show you how they're going to actually play you. And I just think Ja's the reason why.
Okay. All right, well.
Yeah, I agree with Joseph. I think they're a play-in team, but playoff – I can't see them advancing past the first round this year.
Unless they do something like what Mike was saying in the comments. He said that, going after James Wiseman, that's a low risk, high reward trade potentially. Agree, but I don't know if James Wiseman is exactly the right fit, but they'll have to do something about their center depth if they plan to get it out of the first round. I do think Ja is that good. Like they could go in the play-in tournament, they could go in at the 10 seed and they could upset their way all the way to the 8 seed into the playoffs, into the first round, and then have to play the 1 seed. That's not an easy out right there. So, but they have to do something about that center depth. So just Ja's enough to get him there. He's that electric, but he's not I don't know that he's enough. I mean, we all know the playoffs is its own little mini season within itself. So I don't know that he's enough to get him out of the first round.
Yeah, I think you for sure have to look and jump into the trade deadline and look, just observe and say, hey, just look for something that's available.
Okay. All right. Well, let's run through the standings real quick. Let's go through the West. At number 1, you got the Timberwolves. They are going to be playing the Lakers tonight. At number 2, you got the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are 17-8. At number 3, you got the Nuggets, who are 19-10. Are they gassed? What's going on with Denver? They do seem a little different these last 4 to 5 games. At number 4, we got the Clippers. They're on a 9-game winning streak. They lost 7 or 8, I think, in a row whenever they first got Harden, and then they've won every game since then. Thoughts on the Clippers? Are we going to take them serious? Do we ever take them serious?
I wouldn't take them seriously. I'd say the furthest they go, when they make the playoffs, and this is just being friendly, is the Western semis.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that length, that defensive prowess of Kawhi and Paul George, and I think, having They have 3 different legit scorers that can outside those 2 with Nolan Powell, and you have Bones Highland. So they have depth on their squad.
And they have
And I
Russ coming off the bench.
Right.
exactly, and I think
Volunteered
a
to do
good
it.
help for them is having someone like Daniel Theismann as a backup center who can actually shoot the 3. Because I don't know, I'm watching them play, and I think, and I know everybody, you ain't his biggest fan. If Kawhi can stay, they have a really good chance of doing some damage and being a team that you may be hard to go against in that Western Conference, because they looking good. Now I don't. It's just I just don't know. I'm always fearful, especially everything I've learned outside after every destination with James Harden. I'm just always fearful about that
You
when it
have to
comes
be.
to playoff time. That's the only
Right.
thing for me. I'm just only fearful about that. Everybody, they have everything else is lit, is great. Everything
Right.
else is fantastic. I just don't know. I just
Sir,
don't know
I
about
can't.
James.
Crazy how they have so many players that I don't like on one team right
Yeah.
there.
Right.
But I will I will say this. Kawhi, the difference in Kawhi this year compared to last year,
He's happier.
he like in the games that he did play, he was scoring between like 15 and 25. What is it?
It's annoying.
He was scoring between like 15 and 25, and that's somebody that like you're paying to be like the number 2, number 3 best player in the world. That's the type of money you're giving him. And so 25 points was just not going to cut it. While it's a good performance for a lot of other people, the amount of money and what you're putting on him, like, okay, we already know that you're not going to be able to play back to backs, or we know that, we're already going to have to deal with what's going on with your health. When you are there, you're going to have to put those type of performances in there. And we were seeing that out of Paul George. We were seeing him being able to carry those type of scoring performances. This year, it's Kawhi. Like, he's come back with those 30 point plus performances. His defense is looking good. I don't know if it's his health or what they have going on, but Kawhi looks a lot better this season than he did last year.
He looks happier. He looks very happy to be actually with
Right.
James Harden and all them. And like you said, it's really about health, because if you're giving me top form Kawhi, top 4 Paul George on the same squad, I'm thinking your defense is going to be pretty tough.
The only thing that we heard as far as their defense, though, PJ Tucker is not happy.
Of course
and
not.
And so we have heard that he might want out.
If you're going to move him, you need to get somebody else. But because they're running and gunning, and it's like it's really hard, because where are you going to put him? He plays Kawhi's spot. He plays in Kawhi's spot. Like, and as much as you can sit there and say Zubac's and Mon factor, he actually is a very beneficial player on that squad. So it's like, where's he going to fit? Like, where's he really going to fit? His position's covered. His position's covered.
I can't stand PJ Tucker.
All right. So at number 5, we got the Sacramento Kings, who seem to have kind of figured out their woes that they were going through early. De'Aaron Fox wasn't there for the first few games. He is back. It does seem like they're starting to figure a few things out, but they are still dropping a few games that are leaving you like with question marks of like, was last year that they overachieved last year? Or are they still just kind of trying to get their rhythm right?
They got killed on De'Aaron Fox's birthday.
You said what?
I said they got killed on Fox's birthday yesterday.
Ooh,
they got killed.
All right. Then at number 6, we got the Mavs, who seem another situation where one of their key players has bounced around some. And he looks like he's finally happy there in Dallas, and that's in Kyrie Irving. Like, he looks like
he's been injured lately.
Right. Okay, he has been injured lately, yes.
But he does seem happy, yes.
When he's there, when he is playing, he looks a lot happier. I think that he's just found a situation where they let him be himself, and that's where he's flourishing. So I actually think it was the absolute right move for him to stay there in Dallas.
Yep, I agree.
The headband. That headband on Luka is something. He's a
well,
father.
That rookie that they drafted, the center.
Lively,
yeah, he's so good.
I will say, from what I've seen, if they're fully healthy, they're a dangerous squad. They are
Right.
they have length, and they have Grant Williams. They got size down low. They may not be the tallest bunch, but you saw what Grant Williams was doing when he was defending Giannis
Right.
with Boston. And you see Derek Lively, athletic big. Athletic big gives me Nick Claxton from the Brooklyn Nets when he was first coming up.
Right.
And it's like Luka and Kyrie work well together. Tim Hardaway Jr., they're deep. And like when I watch them, and I'm starting to really, truly appreciate Jason Kidd's coaching style, because the way he coaches, he really has an effective game plan when it comes to how you attack a team's defense.
To me, he copied Pop.
Absolutely.
In the fact that he made Tim Hardaway Jr. come off the bench. That's somebody that is probably a starter anywhere else. He was Luka's right-hand man before Kyrie got there. He is, to come off the bench. I think that's what's catapulting them to another level, because your bench play is just as good, almost just as good as your starters, and that's a proven winning system.
20-point scorer. Mm-hmm.
Right. Coming off your bench, just like it's just as important as Russ coming off the bench in LA.
He's embracing it, unlike, unfortunately, a certain Warriors guy in Golden State who's having a little issue coming off the bench now.
Who are we talking about?
Andrew Wiggins. He's not happy about coming off the bench, but whereas Tim Hardaway Jr. is embracing the fact that he can still legit get 20 points off the bench. 20 points.
Right. Well, I think Wiggins has to understand that, like, okay, what happened last year in his personal life, his dad was sick. Everyone in the world was saying his wife cheated on him, and they made up all these crazy stories in the media, and come to find out his dad had cancer, and I think that time away from the team, they had to adapt, and they had to figure out, how are we going to win games without Andrew? Because Andrew at the time was the number 2 option on the team, because Clay had not come back full force just yet. And so when Wiggins went MIA, even though it's understandable, the team kept playing. Like, they had to figure out how to function without him. And until he earns his spot back, he's coming off the bench. And I think you have to embrace that.
The West is tougher now. Significantly tougher. Significantly.
All right. So at number 7, we got the Pelicans. Thoughts on the Pelicans? They are 16-12.
Well, you go ahead and start this one.
I'm just going to say that, Zion's putting up good numbers. But again, health is the question with Zion, as we all know.
Right.
And that's the biggest issue. Also, I'm not sold on them. Yes, Brandon Ingram's a good player too, but I'm not sold on the Pelicans.
I love Zion, but I think to have that size, you should have way more of a chance to get double-doubles and affect the game in a lot more of a different light. But I think I still like this team, but I just want CJ to really go back to Portland CJ when Zion's not bringing it like he should.
Right, yeah.
I think if he, and granted, last game with the Memphis, he missed 2 bad threes to end the game to try to do it. But that's who he is, that he should be for this team. Like, when you need a big bucket, that's what he kind of became a name off of. And I think if you can get him to get Portland CJ only on certain situations, because in the playoffs, you may have that situation. You may have to throw that guy.
And they have the ability to fight from that seed, because we saw what they did from the play-in tournament, and actually making the playoffs last year. So, we know that they have the ability to play in those high stakes moments, but how deep are those, how deep are you going to be in order to get out of that first round?
Would you rather rely on CJ stepping it up, or trying to ask Jonas to get 20 and 15?
Well, I will say this: Valanciunas is balling over there.
He is.
I wonder how Memphis feels treating him. I bet even though I like Steven Adams. I love Aquaman, but
yes. I'm not the only one who calls it Jason Momoa.
But it's when I look at the matchups that they may potentially come across, it's okay, you're going to be facing, you could face a potential Lakers squad. The bigs is already canceled out. But where you attack the Lakers is from your guard play because, Russell's not, but it's like the teams that they may face. You got to figure out, CJ, they brought you here to be that guy for them, like that leader.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That person.
Yeah, because when Dame wasn't healthy, he carried Portland. And when Dame was healthy, they rivaled the Splash Brothers. Like, they were that good.
Yeah.
It's just, I like them. I still like them. I just hope, I have to see what happens after January because that's what happened with Zion last year.
I will never.
Right. No, that's true. That's true too.
Even though I like some of their players, I will never respect the Pelicans franchise for what they have done to my team.
What have they done to your team?
You talking about when Charlotte left to go to New Orleans?
The Hornets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no.
They gave y'all the Bobcats. I see. All right, I'm gonna run through the last few on the Western Conference, and y'all can pick one that you want to talk about, whether it's good or bad. So at number 9, we got the Rockets, who are 13-12. At number 10, you got the Suns, who are 14-13. At 11, you got the Warriors, who are 13-14. At 12, you got the Jazz. At 13, you got the Grizzlies. At 14, you got the Trailblazers, and at 15, you got my Spurs.
So I'll go real quick. The Suns, Devin Booker, I have him in fantasy. This guy's been kind of injury prone this year. Same with Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant's the only one who's really played like 90% of the games. Right. And it stinks because they traded for Beal, and I thought Beal was going to have a great year, and Booker too. And it just seems like they are never. Hey, Jeremy. It seems like they never are on the court at the same time. I think it's like once or twice or maybe 3 times this year. But yeah, it's an issue. It really is. And I hope that they can eventually all play together and be on the same court at the same time, because who wouldn't want to see 3 guys like that?
I think with Bradley, and I'm sure Joseph can attest to this, you should have known that health was going to be an issue. It has always been an issue for Bradley Beal. And as much as you may like the guy, as much as he's a likable person, his health is always an issue.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Now, this latest injury was a bad roll. I'll give it that. But yeah, you have to know. I want to talk about that team in Houston because I don't know if people knew this, but I really wasn't the highest fan of Jalen Green. I always called him a guy that can run, that score, he could do his thing. But when I watched him, I didn't like the way he was playing. I didn't like he was playing for himself and not thinking about the team. That's different now. When I'm watching them play, when I'm seeing them move, Jalen Green is working himself into the team. And I think that's a direct effect of Ime Udoka and Fred VanVleet. And I remember when VanVleet was being signed over here, there were a lot of people that didn't think it was going to work out. They thought that he was going to be, a little bit sluggish, not doing his thing. Right. I like what I see from Fred VanVleet with this team. And I love saying that.
To credit on that, because I wasn't sure if it would work either. That last season looked very lackluster for VanVleet in Toronto. Like he had some injuries, and even when he was on the court, it looked like he got his money and he kind of fell off. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
They have a team that has the potential to be a very good defensive team.
Agreed.
Yep.
They're sitting at the beginning of this week, which obviously these games will change that. But at the beginning of this week, they were sitting at number 3 defensive in the league.
Right. And it's like you still got the Thompson rookie coming off that you want him. You still have it's just I really like watching them play. And I think, it's a testament. Udoka, and you mentioned Pop. All of these guys come from Pop's coaching. Udoka was there. So it's like at the end of the day, when you watch them and you watch them play the Spurs, you pretty much see the exact same team running it, just using different guys to start the high point. Like the Spurs go through Wemby for the most part. They like to go through.
No, I think they need to go through Wemby, and they don't. To me, I see a lot of players out there playing for themselves. And we're going to talk about the Spurs for a second, y'all.
Absolutely.
There's not a lot. There's not a lot of positive to say other than it's fun to watch Wemby. You know what I mean? He's just amazing. It's like poetry in motion to watch him with the ball. Literally, cannot just wait to watch him develop.
Do you
over
like
the next few
Vassell?
seasons. I love Vassell. I think we don't have Keldon in the right spot. I don't think we've ever had Keldon in the right spot. He is your small forward, and most of the time we have him playing at the power forward position. That's not his position. He's too small for it, you know? And I think he's frustrated. There's times when he looks lost in the offense. Vassell has had some injury issues this year as well. But he is a lights out 3-point shooter. He's somebody that I think once, when healthy, when on the court, he's your number 2 option. I like Keldon a lot, but right now he looks lost in the offense.
Yeah, I really think the starting lineup just for now, just to see how it is, and maybe a core for the future, is to put Trey Jones back in that starting lineup and have him, Devin, Keldon, and maybe Zach Collins and Wemby, because I think Trey and Wemby have a good relationship together.
They do, and it's not a knock to Sohan because I like him a lot too, and he's somebody that is coachable. If you're willing to go out there and try a completely different shot, and everybody's making fun of you for shooting your free throws,
I love it.
Right, shooting it. Everybody's making fun of you for shooting it one-handed, but you doubled your free throw percentage. Like you went from a 40% to an 80% doing this. Like that to me right there says, okay, this guy really cares about winning and he really cares about contributing to the team. If he's willing to come off the bench, put him there.
Yeah, I think because you still just because you're put on the bench
because Trey
mean when
Trey
playoffs
is pretty special. I think Trey is pretty special. I think he's not gonna be the same talent as Tony Parker, but there's flashes that I see of it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that
he's
looks
a
like
traditional point guard,
right? Like
point guard.
Right, yeah. And so I think he's pretty special. I think him and his brother are both pretty good, but I think Trey is the better of the Jones brothers.
I love Ty. My team is trash, but we're not talking about them. But as far as your team, I agree. I like it, but I had a friend had a theory. He said he actually thinks that the reason why you guys aren't starting Trey is because you may actually win more games than you want to, because you still are in that rebuilding, tanking for the next high pick process.
I don't see us winning the lottery because we don't need to win back-to-back lottery picks. Like we're not the Indiana Fever. We're not the Indiana Fever. We don't need that.
They cheated. No. I wanted my girls to get the #1 pick.
Right. Well, so they, I see us, but we're still gonna be in the draft lottery. Like the Spurs are looking towards the draft. We're more than a quarter of the way. We're about a third of the way through the season.
I think we could say all 3 of our teams are looking to the lottery.
Yeah, most likely. All right, so let's slide over to the East real quick. At number 1, you got the Celtics, who are 20-6. At number 2, you got the Bucks, who are 20-7. At number 3, you got the Sixers, who are 19-8. And then you have a little bit of a drop off to the Magic at number 4, who are 16-10. Anything about those first 4 teams that you want to talk about?
You know what? I'm going to go real fast. Number 1, I'm not surprised because you got Derek White, you got Jason Tatum, you got Jaylen Brown, you got Al Horford. Number 2, you got Milwaukee, which is you got Dame and Giannis. And Giannis scored, what was it the other day, like 70?
It was 60
something. Number 3, Philly, you got Embiid, and you got Maxey, who I have on fantasy team, who is just killing it. And I think he could be an all-star backup this year, or a starter, maybe even sneaking as a starter with Halliburton. And number 4,
I could definitely see him as a backup.
And then number 4, the Magic. Man, they're fun. They're young and fun. You got Paulo Banchero. You got Franz Wagner, who's a fun player. Yeah, that Magic team. Cole Anthony, that Magic team. I'm going to call it right now. In the next 5 years, is going. Not going to say title
Well, of
contenders.
course, no, of course, because they won the draft lottery like 5 years in a row.
Yeah,
Not
true.
literally. They didn't get the number one pick 5 years in a row, but they've had top 5 picks for like the last decade.
They
So
have.
I mean, of
And
course, they finally put a couple of things together.
And I think they're going to be a really good team in a few years because those young pieces are fun. Bancaro, you got Wagner, you got Cole Anthony. Yeah, I like that young Magic team.
I just need them to wear their tennis shoes and not their Timbs in the dunk contest, please.
Yeah, for real. I agree.
All right, Joseph, you got anything about those top 4 teams?
So Celtics, I got to give it to you. He came from the Spurs, but that Derek White is a very important piece to that Celtics squad. And I think it's not. He's a two-way player. He can give you what you need on offense. I like Drew. I think Drew's having a little bit of a slow start for me, though. I think Drew is kind of doing slow. Derek White's kind of really been the one to take that mantle. Milwaukee, they figuring it out. As a matter of time, Giannis and Dame are going to figure it out. Dame started to get his rhythm. And that play-in tournament in that third quarter against Indiana where he dropped 17, literally like that, I was like, yep, he's back. This is what it's going to be for them. The Sixers, man, I'm not going to lie. I like them. But I am worried about just the rotation and see how Embiid's going to hold up. Even though he said prior coming to the season, he wanted to take that heavy workload. Nick Nurse is using him as the guy to build the lead and the guy to kill the kill shot. And he plays I just want to see how long is that going to hold up throughout the season, because this will be probably by far the most minutes he'll play in an ever season because of how they got to play him now. And the Magic, I like them. They're kind of coming down to earth because teams are now taking them serious. They're looking at them like, okay, we saw that you beat us before. We're not going to let that happen again. And it's like, we're going to see this. So now they got to figure out how to adjust because I think they lost 4 of the last 5 or whatever. But it's like, it's just been a tough go of it. But they all pretty good teams that enjoy watching.
Oh, man. Look, there's Jay talking to you. Better show up. Yeah, right. Jay, come on now. You know what? We're going to get to the Wizards at the end of the standings. At the bottom of the standings. What is you doing, Jay? All right. The next 4 is where it gets real interesting. At number 5, we got the Knicks, who are 16-11. At number 6, you got the Cavs, who are 16-12, who are playing the Pelicans right now. Then we got at number 7, we got the Miami Heat, 16-12. And at number 8, you got the Pacers, who are 14-12. Any thoughts on any of those 4 teams?
Yeah, you know what? I feel bad for the Cavs because they just lost Garland and Mobley. Mobley's out for multiple weeks. I have him in fantasy. He's out for multiple weeks.
Why is Garland out?
I don't remember.
They got a broken jaw.
Oh shit, that hurts.
But he played the whole game when it happened. He played the rest of the 4.
And then real quick, the Knicks, you got Brunson, you got Barrett, Mitchell Robinson just got hurt, so they're starting. I think they're starting Isaiah Hartenstein or however you say his last name, Havestein, something like that. Then you got the Miami Heat, of course. You got Jimmy, you got Bam Adebayo, you got Tyler Hero, and then the Pacers. Man, that Pacers team, Tyrese Halliburton is having himself a year.
For sure. JJ?
So, Cavs, they're going through some tough times. They got injuries. It's not just Darius and Donovan. Evan's gone too. They just haven't been a chance to get healthy and get a chance to really gel. They were figuring it out a little bit, but then they suffered these injuries. Those Miami Heat, I actually got to say, I think Spo and them are just coasting right now because they've shown they can get to the playoffs, and when they go to the playoffs, it becomes a kind of a different ball game for them. So I think as long as they keep winning, they're going to do what they have to do there. Those Knicks, I'm very curious to see as this season goes on how the chemistry continues to form, because it's clear as day when you watch them. Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, and Jalen Brunson work like clockwork together. It's just clear as day. Because there's a lot of deflections and turnovers that lead to transition baskets, because as soon as either one of them gets the steal, the other one is gone. Like they are gone, and it's like it's beautiful. And Brunson is working out. Brunson is worth every bit of the money that they have paid
For
him,
sure.
and he's doing great. Those Pacers, you gotta play some defense. You gotta play some defense. Like you got to play some defense. And I think right now, after seeing what the Lakers did to Tyrese in the play-in, a lot of teams are starting to play him that way, getting up in his grill, trapping him early so you can kind of
Right.
commit. And he's had a little bit of a struggle. Now, we'll see how he adjusts to that and how Rick Carlisle kind of game plans things for them. I think, without
Right.
him, Andrew Nembhard coming in, who could have been another guard who can take the pressure off of Tyrese. But right now, I like them. I just think that this is kind of like D'Antoni Houston, shoot as many threes as you can. And it's just it's not that I think Rick wants to do it. I just think Rick just knows what team he has. And it's the only way he really can do it. And so I get it. I like them. I get it.
Yeah, they have some bench depth issues. And as long as Miles Turner is healthy, and we know that's a question mark in itself.
Yep.
For the Cavs, my biggest question is where the hell is Jared Allen? Like he's clocking minutes, but he's not doing a thing. Like what happened? He's had a massive fall off in the last half of last year and this season too. So that's my question. Where is Jared Allen? And so to me, is that coaching that you're not able to bring it out of this guy? Because we know what he's capable of. He could be a double-double, walking double-double. Jared Allen can be that. So is that coaching that's not bringing out of him? Is it the rotations? What's the issue? Or has he just fallen off?
It kind of feels like this is Donovan in Utah kind of all over again, if I'm being just completely honest.
There's a rumor that Mitchell could be moved.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I think if you got to step in, because Jared Allen works best with Darius Garland when they're doing the pick and roll and Darius is dribble, drive, and attacking. They haven't really done that. If you watch them, they really kind of just run around doing attacking and stuff. But Darius and Donovan are kind of just taking most of the shots. You kind of got to get your own when you are playing with them. It's crazy.
To me, that says it's coaching. And who would have thought, though? Who would have thought that it's looking like which trade is actually working out better, and that's Rudy Gobert in Minnesota. Like, who would have thought? I would have never thought that. When Donovan joined Cleveland, I was like, oh, they got it. They got it, Exactly. So that was a surprise for me. And then getting to the Knicks, y'all know I'm a Coach Tibb fan. So seeing them being able to be successful, I enjoy watching that. I think they still have some bench depth issues as well. But my favorite player on the Knicks is actually Quickly. I think he's their ace up the sleeve, because any given night, he's going to give you double digits off the bench most of the time. But any given night, he's going to give you 20 plus. And I love watching Quickly.
If you could get consistent 25 and 10 from Julius Randle, how good would this team be?
Oh my gosh, yeah! If he would be consistent with it, yeah, definitely.
I think with him, and you see it all the time. Megan and Will. Whenever he plays a team that has a forward that's considered better than him, that's when he likes to go off. That's when he likes to do his thing. But like a lot of times, he can get lost in the sauce, and it's like, but he is, facilitating. His assists have gone up. It's looking pretty decent. But yeah, Quickly, that boy can run.
I love watching him. Okay, so I'm going to run through the last few of the Eastern Conference real quick, and y'all just pick one that you want to talk about. At number 9, you got the Nets, who are 13 and 14. At number 10, you got the Hawks, who are 12 and 15. At number 11, you got the Bulls, who have started winning ball games again. They are 12 and 17. At number 12, you got the Raptors. At number 13, you got the Hornets. At 14, you got the Wizards. And at 15, you got Pistons.
So I'll go real quick with the Bulls. It looks, I don't know what's going on. Vucevic is playing pretty well. Kobe White's coming out of nowhere and looking like the player he once was in college. He is balling out. DeMar's doing his thing. And then Zach LaVine, I brought it up on this show weeks ago. The question is he going to be moved? Is he going to stay? We don't know. But, yeah, who knows? I hope. And then you got Andre Drummond on the Bulls, who's a good veteran leadership. But Yeah, that's all I have to say about the Bulls.
Okay.
I'm a little shocked at the Hawks. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like Quinn Snyder's type offense, and I thought with another
Me too.
year together, I figured that DJ and Trey would kind of be a little bit more. Now, granted, I think when Jalen Johnson went down against my Wizards, that kind of changed it a little bit because he was a nice third option or fourth option that kind of was like crazy athleticism. And, you know, for a
Right.
guy that wants to attack the basket or attack the rim with like Trey does, those alley-oops go that way. But I just, they're too talented of guards to not get a little bit more out. Like, I'm really looking at DeJounte a little bit because I think he can do a little bit more. Like, he can definitely give me like 24 to like 24, 7, and 7. Like, I do my sports bets, so I'll go over there. Like, if I'm looking at my props, I think the PRA with points, rebounds, and assists is where DeJounte should really make his money and be that switchblade because he's a 6'8" guard and he can play
Right.
good defense. And I've seen him in person. His game is nice, and it's like he can really fit with this team. And I think he's the key that needs
I
to
don't
step
think
up.
he's 6'8", babe. I think he's 6'4".
I thought he was 6'8" when I went to that game. Maybe it's
His
just me how
wingspan,
short I was.
it's his wingspan that's so big.
I'm
But
6'8".
he's really not that tall. But his
No.
wingspan is ridiculous.
Yeah, that might have been me. I'll be honest with you because I was sitting down and looking
Yeah,
up
no,
because
I
I
was
was just
gonna
like,
say, I think he's 6'4" or 6'5". But his wingspan is of somebody that is 6'8" or 6'10", you know?
yeah.
Yep.
I'm just shocked at them a little bit. I think they need to kind of. I need them to pick it up. Pick it up.
No, I don't want them to pick it up, JJ. I don't
You
like
said you
the
don't want it.
Hawks.
I think, you know, we have an Atlanta friend who loves the Hawks in Nate. And we've had this discussion the other day. And for me to give an unbiased opinion, because y'all know I was hurt when DeJounte left the Spurs, but unbiasedly, I can sit there and say, just like watching it, because I don't have any like horses in the race over there in Atlanta. It just looks like a failed experiment between two different types of guards. Like, it's going to take somebody special to get the best out of Trey off the ball, and I just don't know that. It looked good on paper. I understand why they went for it. Like, hey, we might try this and it might work, but it's not working, and so I think you blow it up.
I can't stand Trae Young.
I mean, I think he's incredibly talented.
You know who my guy is of that draft?
Of course, Luka. So, but to me,
Luka jersey fans. No, I'm kidding. I'll buy one.
I just think it's a failed experiment. You know,
It is.
They tried it, and I think you had to try it because why not? It sounded like it would work, and it's just not.
It's not. No, I agree.
Okay, so we're going to probably end the show on one last topic. I'm not going to run through the rankings on college because we did a little bit of college talk before we even jumped into these other topics. But there is a college topic that I wanted to bring up with y'all. My co-host for the spaces that we do on Twitter or X, a part of Clutch Kingdom. Shout out to them. It's the ladies. We do the WNBA, but we talk about college ball too. And one of my co-host questions, her name's Lola, was who is Caitlin Clark's, like, who's her comparable person? Who's her comparison in the WNBA, whether it be past or present?
I'll go real fast.
Go ahead.
It's Sabrina. It's Sabrina Ionescu, better shooting version of Sabrina Ionescu, because they both put up triple doubles like nobody's business. And it's either that or DT, but I lean towards Ionescu because they both are a walking triple double. Even though, like I said, Caitlin's a better shooter. So I would say her comp is Ionescu.
Okay.
I'm going to go Kelsey Plum. I actually think I like that big game ability. I like want that moment. And, you know, I think because the Aces have so many different stars, so many different people, you don't really get a chance. You get a chance to really look at them individually. You see the play style, like that clutchness, that leadership, that intangibles. And I like Caitlin. It reminds me of Kelsey because
I
Kelsey be
love
getting it.
Plum. I love that girl.
I think KP plays more defense, and so my comp for Caitlin, I have to say, is Jewel Lloyd.
Okay.
And I think just like shooting wise and her ability to set the play up as well, so her assists are going to be there. I definitely see her as a
I
Jewel
can see
Lloyd
a
type of player.
Jewel. Yeah.
Now, if she can step her defense up, she could be Skylar Diggins Smith.
Do
She
you
could
see
be.
any Sabrina in her or no?
Yeah, oh yeah, the shooting abilities are very similar. I just think that if Caitlin could step up her defense, which is absolutely a learned skill, that's dedication, that's your work ethic, that's what defense
Effort.
is.
She
Yeah,
would be a
effort.
Skylar. She would be.
She could, she could be number 2 or number 3, or maybe even the best shooter, and then bring that type of defense. Like she has the ability to be that good.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for the show for us this week. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, commenting, sharing. I saw all y'all doing that. Really appreciate it. If there's a topic that you guys want to discuss, just shoot any of us a message, and we will be willing to talk about it. See y'all not next week. We're going to take next week off for the holidays, but we will see you after the first of the new year.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me on, you guys.